Yes, I want to start streaming.
Really funny. Really funny. What do you mean I'm funny? It's funny, you know. It's a good story.
Good morning. Tony Caravan.
You've been subjected to a highly sophisticated form of propaganda.
It's just what you need, and not what you don't. Quality, quantity, and variety.
Rock Flux.
And away we go. Today's garbage day, but the garbage already got picked up. It is exactly 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And compared to yesterday when I got up, the show was like, I got up at 4, or the show started sometime while it was still 4, in the 4 o'clock hour. It's July 20th in the calendar year 2021. This is the future for most of my viewers and the future for me. I'm drinking Diet Cola against my better judgment. And I also realized this morning that two fig Newtons only contain 1 gram of fiber. So it's not necessarily a good thing if you're trying to get more fiber in your diet. And I think the average person who watches my show might be interested in that. There's nothing like fiber, but let's get right into it.
The Weather Watch forecast.
And here we go. Let me get this into a visual position. It's 61 degrees outside of the studio. It says it's going to be sunny all day long. And today's a Tuesday. And it's going to get up into the low 80s today. And apparently the overnight is supposed to be in the 60s. Last night was good sleeping weather. I did wake up at 4 o'clock today, but I laid in bed and fell back into sleep and maybe had some kind of goofy dream that I can't recall, and rolled out of bed at 6 o'clock. That's like kind of a rarity for me, but yesterday was like crazy. So anyway, tomorrow it's going to be 75 degrees, 40% chance of thunderstorms, 55 for the overnight. Thursday, partly sunny, partly cloudy, you decide. 79 degrees, 57 for the overnight. And the weekend, just to give you a little preview, is looking like it might be a decent weekend. Not like super sunny, but it looks like Friday and Saturday are going to be okay. It looks like sleeping weather will be half decent. Summer. We're still in the dog days of summer, remember, until August 14th. It goes from July 3rd, I believe, to August 14th. So we're actually, a lot of us are getting off fairly easy.
The Weather Watch forecast.
And because I did just roll out of bed at 6, I went out, fed the birds, had a couple fig Newtons, and I'm still tired. I don't know. Yesterday was, sometimes it takes you 2 days to catch up. Yesterday I had a doctor's appointment, and then I had them drop me off at the supermarket down the street, and I walked back because I was out of Diet Cola. It's like an addiction, It really is an addiction. The cola addiction, caffeine addiction. Which brings us to today's title card. Look at all those coffee beans. They look good. Did you ever taste a coffee bean? You could get like dark chocolate or chocolate-covered coffee beans and consume them. I've tried those. But, yeah, look at those things. And of course, that's not what a coffee bean really looks like. A coffee bean looks like a berry. And they actually have a juice, or they used to, but there was some conflict with the the brand, the Kona name. And so there was this morning drink that was the juice, which is healthy for you, the juice of the berry that isn't prior to the bean, effect. And I think that got taken off the market because you have to have a certain percentage of pure. It was a Kona brand, and you have to have a certain percentage of pure Kona coffee in it in order to name it such. And I have no idea if they've since changed that or not. But be that as it may, these are coffee beans, and they are synonymous with the morning and caffeine and all that stuff. So, as I said a moment ago, and I won't say, but someone else will say, good morning. Good morning.
Okay.
She thinks everything's funny. All right. Now, our daily image today, and we'll be talking about this today, it's kind of going to be kind of the theme. I've used this image in a previous in a previous image was presented in a previous card, display card or something. And that girl on the left, man, does she have a nice body, which people like. You're not supposed to say that, I guess. But I mean, who's to say what you're supposed to say or not? Anyway, I'm going to go into I'm going to do something weird right now. Video capture device. And I'm going to mess with the filter and see if this doesn't knock us off the air. I have my saturation on minimum. And I'm going to give it I'm going to try to make this look a little I'm going to add a little color to this. Okay? Just for the sake of it. Not much, just enough to give a tinge. All right. See that? It's almost like a colorized, I was thinking about this before, colorized photo. And then perhaps even next to that, see how it kind of blends a little maybe? My face is really looking round. I forgot about this hat. Vanity, night and day you torture me. It's kind of neat though. This is like when you colorize a photo from the 1800s or it would be from the 1800s, but I've been around forever, man. I've been around forever. And even though
I've resigned, I will not be pushed, filed, stamped, indexed, briefed, debriefed, or numbered.
They just don't get it. And they're continuously after me.
You're now in a different continuum than the world you're used to.
So I don't know. And today, by the way, this, I'm not even going to play that, And you're saying, what were you going to do? What were you going to do? I don't know. Wasn't that. Now, for our food and garden feature today, and I'm going to show you something you've seen before, my lettuce sandwiches. And in fact, I'm going to have a lettuce and tomato sandwiches because my tomatoes are ripe right now. And so, which is great. When you still have lettuce and tomatoes, because lettuce grows early. Now this picture was look how wilted and someone would look at that and go, those things aren't going to grow. Those were my lettuce starts this April. All right. And you can't imagine how much lettuce I have. I've been giving it away. So, food and garden. And last but not least, what is it? Okay. This is what got me in trouble yesterday. And forget about my face. And the colorization on this one is kind of bizarre. This is, in fact, that we don't even need to see my face. It just gets in the way. Just keep my name there. This is from I used to do these dining and entertainment magazines. And so me or my assistant, partner, staff, whatever, all rolled up in one. We used to go out and take pictures of the food on the premises. And in many cases, if they were a sit-down type of place, we would basically order the food, take a picture of it before we'd consume it. This is some place called Bob's Sub, I believe. And, they do a good job here. And, you're saying, what does this have to do with anything? Well, we got coffee beans on the title card, and it's good morning. And I'm going to mess around with your human, desires for food. But anyway, you could see that the roll, the bread is key in a sub. And in this case, you can see that they've toasted it a little bit, right? But it also looks like it has like something on there, they're not seeds. Like a lot of times in pizza, what really makes pizza good is they put, like, when they're baking, they put cornmeal down. That's like if you want to make homemade pizza, I mean, all you need is dough, water and flour, basically. Put a little salt, and I always add a little olive oil or something like that. You put, of course, you need some water to make it mix, and a little pinch of salt. You could season it too if you want to. You just mix that up, and you could put that in a cast iron pan and make a pan pizza. But what you do is you put a little, and using a cast iron pan, you put a little olive oil or something down so it's not going to stick. But then you sprinkle down some corn meal, and that's like one of the secrets that's on the, for the crust. But anyway, look at this. Look at the, so you shred your lettuce, which is a lot of people should do that even if you're going to have a salad. All right, you shred that lettuce. It just makes it taste good. Now they're a little chintzy with the tomatoes here, and there's some onions there that are kind of mixed in with the lettuce. And then you could see you want at least 3 kinds of meat. Usually in an Italian sub, it's like capicola, hard salami, right? Maybe ham. And then provolone cheese. In this case, it looks like mozzarella almost. But, you put some provolone cheese on there. Isn't that a good-looking sub? Anyway. I had a sub yesterday, not one of those. And it kind of haunted me. All right. Tended to haunt me for the rest of the day. My chair's falling down. I think this might be our new coloring. And the thing that I sit on, because this chair is not only broken in the sense that it doesn't want to stay up. And so I've added various devices, not devices, but things. It's nice to have a microphone that doesn't, short every time you touch it. But be that as it may, there's my book Codex here. So you see a little bit of red tint on it there. And the transistor radio is a little more visible now in this colorization, as is the old, and you can almost tell the phone is green. And it's like, what is that? Time traveler. And of course, there's an Andy Warhol there too. So, good morning. Good morning, folks. How the hell are you? Don't answer that. This is what the show is going to be about. Happiness. Even though it says good morning. I mean, good morning is a sense of happiness. as he slurps his drink, slightly colorized. Ice cubes still in place. Back window opened. So let's look at these girls. All right, posing, drinking from their party cups. Yeah, and it's like, so yeah, my favorite is the one on the, the one with the purse, the visible purse. When I say left, see, the thing is, we have to think of stage left and stage right on this show. That's why sometimes you see me pointing, not sometimes, all the time. When I'm pointing at something in the back, it's like, which hand do I use? Because I'm, we're dealing with the stage is the way this is presented. All right. So looking at that photo, stage left, the girl with the black top showing a little more skin. Though that glimpse of a thigh of the girl, the tall girl, I guess that's her thigh, yeah. That's not bad. Perfection in the female form. This show deals with that. But to me, the girl on the far left, that is like, to me, that's almost the perfect formed body, Yeah. Now these girls, okay, so that's enough talk about that. I know this drives people crazy, in today's world. It's like, yeah, hey, that's what life's all about. I mean, there aren't that many things that life's really all about. You know what I mean? And if you can't really enjoy life, I don't know. It's ridiculous.
This is really funny. Really funny. What do you mean I'm funny? It's funny,
Yeah. You got to be able to laugh and enjoy and have fun and all that stuff, I mean, it's life. Lighten up, man. Lighten up. So, these girls are happy, and, and beautiful. Like I say, all women are beautiful. Yeah. But we all have our, like, kind of particular, style of woman that we like. Anyway, so take an image, that image, snapshot of that in your brain, which you don't have to worry about snapshotting because I'm going to keep it up for a couple minutes. And I'm certainly not going to show you what the alternative is, but you know what the alternative is. The alternative is these people who are out there with protest signs, fists in the air and all this kind of stuff. And I want this, I want that. And they don't know what they want. And they got these sourpusses on their face and they're angry and they hate this, they hate that. And they want to convert everybody to some kind of whatever world or ideology they have. And my thing is has always been, and it is more so now than ever, is like live and let live. I don't care what you believe, okay? I don't care about that. It doesn't disturb me, even if it's completely opposite of what I believe in. That's why I'm no longer interested in politics. No, I'm interested in truth and beauty, right? And nature, right? And this is nature too, Women having fun, smiling, happy people, right? That's nature. We're on this planet and you wouldn't have the capability of, of this.
This is really funny. Really funny. What do you mean I'm funny? It's funny,
You wouldn't have the capability of laughing and finding things funny,
Okay.
if it wasn't part of life. And it is part of life. It's part of this, your senses. This, like I call it, your soul experience, your consciousness, right? And I see viewers come in and viewers come out. They just don't understand what this is. Well, it's the idea that you don't have to be angry. You don't have to be pushing your ideology. You don't have to be donating campaign funds, to somebody who's just going to pay some angry person on TV. You notice that the announcers are all angry, right? Or they're poking fun at people, in other words, stuff that's not nice. You don't do that stuff. So we'll get back to these girls. And we may get back to the sandwich. I ate a sandwich yesterday, like I said. It kind of upset my stomach a little bit, but I don't know. I don't know why. So that's our daily image. And that's our lettuce. And of course, let's not forget, this. Our ongoing brassiere, available at Amazon. But, so, do you wake up and have a good morning? It's a Tuesday, 7:21 a.m. It's a cool morning in the mid-Atlantic states. Like I said, I'm about an hour from one of the entrances to the Northern Appalachian Trail. That's where I'm situated. Mid-Atlantic states, it's a big swath of land, geographic location. It was interesting. I heard another billionaire talk yesterday. I've been catching some of these people, talking about, the collapse of the U.S. within the next 3-6 months or more. And how the house of cards going to fall. And maybe the Federal Reserve, the central bankers will try to pull another, something else out of their sleeve, another card out of their sleeve. But, it's interest rates are still ridiculously low. They basically, we used to call it printing. They printed trillions of dollars, but in effect, they've just basically created trillions of dollars in ledgers in the cloud, so to speak. And as I was saying, and the phrase I'm using the last 3 or 4 days, is it where are you going to be in the game of musical chairs when the music stops? Are you going to have a chair? Because the music's playing right now, that's for sure. And it's good music for many people. But are you going to have a chair when the music stops? Because things are changing, right? And this whole, like I was mentioning many times before, as we get towards the fall, that extra money with these unemployed simultaneously to the elimination of the bonus unemployment, which some people have already lost, but I mean that it'll be like dried out completely by then. But simultaneous to that, we're watching over the past year and a half, and it'll be longer by then, this robotization, mechanization, algorithmication, if you could say such a thing. But the need for, or the lack of a need for these jobs for people, it's just not they're just not necessary anymore. And so when the music stops, which means the free money, when you're, there's still a lot of people out there that are still under this thing where their mortgages have been put on hold, So they're way behind on their mortgages, but they're not getting kicked out of their house because of these various EOs, these edicts, still under some of this lockdown things they passed. There are people living in apartments that haven't been kicked out of their apartment, evicted, but they're way behind on their rent because of this. We're still technically in many areas under lockdown of sorts. Now, I noticed that they're trying to resurrect this thing again, right? Talking about another surge. I saw on an official site yesterday. It was a national news site, looking at the cards on YouTube. Like I say, I don't watch TV anymore. YouTube's my TV. This is TV. I saw one of the cards from a major network, and I didn't press on it, was 161 million people have gotten the old thing, right? And I forget how many millions, because you would know better because if you watch TV, how many millions of people had already gotten the thing and so therefore have a natural immunity to the thing. But the concept, the way I understood it from early on watching White House press conferences, is that once you pass a certain threshold, then the so-called herd immunity kicks in. In other words, once you get the majority of people who have an immunity to a thing, then that you suddenly become, then that's how herd immunity occurs, because it's not like 100%. So I don't know. It seemed to me it seemed from earlier things, but we get so many contradictions, and I don't want to talk about that thing because that's verboten, in this world we live in right now, or this geographic location, the former United States. And I'm not political, and I don't care about that medical stuff. I went to my doctor yesterday, had my 15-minute visit. Why do some cups drip? As if you're a slobbering person. It's like they used to have like things in the back of comic books. It's like the whoopee cushion, which people know about. I shouldn't have to explain that one. But they used to have like gum in days when everybody chewed gum. You could buy this gum that had this horrible, ridiculous taste. Somebody put it in their mouth and it'd be like, ugh, who knows what was in that. Of course, you get the sea monkeys, which I've had. In fact, I think we're done with the sub. Let's see if I could browse for sea monkeys. Do you know what sea monkeys are? Let's see here. Come on. There's pictures. Okay. I don't know if these will show because they're in... yeah. Let's see. This actually should be interesting if this works. Yeah, look. They're actually they could be like living here on my shoulder. Sea monkeys. So you used to be able to get, isn't technology neat? I need to move those down. Let them be right on the Tony Caravan Live. So you would be able to, you send away $1 and you'd get this packet and they would be sea monkeys. and you can put them in water, and then they would come alive. And this was the picture they put in the back of the comic book, as if that's what you would get, this sea monkey family. Innocence. The days of innocence. Sea monkeys. It's great technology I have, though. Colorization's cool. Title graphics. See, I could even have the sea monkeys come and actually be slightly over the type, which is really neat. People don't do stuff like that. People don't know how to do things. You know, the art of graphics as opposed to graphic arts. The art of graphics is fading from, pop culture. At one time, that's what that was pop culture. Sea monkeys were pop culture. Those comic books were pop culture. I'm just kind of trying to organize this microphone if I can. So, yeah, the theme of today's show is good morning. It's a Tuesday. If you're lucky enough to have the free time to be able to watch this show, to listen to this show, that's a great thing. That's a beautiful thing. And also, another weird thing here is that, well, we want the everything you know is wrong to be visible, but there's a little bit, I guess the framing is okay. I've got a polo hat on today. Kind of a semi-collared shirt, though the sleeves are cut off to leave the muscles. So, and I'll move in, so to speak. So why aren't people happy? Why aren't more people happy? Why aren't these? Why isn't this the way it is? Why aren't more and more people just finding happiness? When did politics replace pop culture and fun? And this idea of, as I have a shirt on TonyCaravanLive.com, which no one's bought. I mean, I bought and I've worn it here on the show. Yesterday I was amazing my doctor, because I had like a kind of a shirt similar to this over top of a t-shirt. And the t-shirt underneath was, "You don't know what you don't know." And while in the middle of the conversation, he was there. He had some intern with him. Some girl was learning, I guess some intern doctor in training, whatever. But he said to me just in passing, like, he said, does that shirt say you don't know what you don't know? Because, this phrase among a lot of people, in professions is growing, and that's why I say I recommend you get that shirt. But in today's shirt, or talk, but the shirt you really want to get today is "Then what?" with a question mark, right? Then what? Because that's the question that's not being asked by these people with their, cardboard signs, on sticks of wood, right? Their spray paint, right? Their fists in the air, their ridiculous demands, and trying to change everything, right? And my question to them is, then what? Utopia? You know, this sight of these girls, they don't like that. You see? They don't like happiness. They don't like smiles, you know. You don't find it, you know, these people with fists in the air and cardboard signs.
Really funny. Really funny.
You don't find them laughing. And when they do laugh, they're making fun of another person, like a schoolyard bully. Even though most of these people are very wimpy and like the moment you challenge them, they like, I'm telling mom or something. You know, that's the type of person they are. You know, they have no life experience whatsoever. They're not well traveled. And they're functionally illiterate according to the government websites. You know, through various testing through the education system. And all these people have gone through the education system because the education system during their time just became a way of making money. So they created all sorts of degrees that just sounded appealing, you know, and so people could get $30,000, $60,000, $100,000 in debt and then have a degree and no talent, no ability to do anything, right? What good is a degree in some kind of social science, right? So colleges just became another way for the corporatocracy, you know, to transfer wealth from one group of people to another. And that's what they do. It's a money grab. And people don't understand that. They don't understand that the media, the people in the media who they think are on their side, are just trying to sell commercials. And all those people are making like, the big ones are making like $20 million a year. I mean, imagine that. It's great. Those sea monkeys here, they love me. They love me. I don't know so much about the girls on the other side. This is kind of an interesting show. It's like, you know, little cartoon-esque in a sense, you know, production. This is what I always wanted to do with this show, is to have fun like this, you know. And that's my goal, is for you to, you know, it's like you need to put a smile on your face. You need to feel good about something. You need to, you know, change. I left on this other speaker because I was listening to something earlier. So.
Channel check. Left channel. Left channel.
Right channel. I got to do that every like third day or so just for the sake of it. You know, today's one of those days. It's like I don't have I had my PSA test a couple of weeks ago, and my appointment yesterday was not to, you know, of course I had to have a urinalysis, but I've got all my results back from that world, you know. And so it's like a stay of execution for another 6 months till my next appointment towards the end of January. So it's kind of like the day of, if you don't know what I'm talking about, well, it's the big C word is, you know, is not there right now. So today's like one of those days. It's like, I almost feel like walking up to the bar, grabbing a 6-pack, and listening to some music, you know.
Jukebox Gold.
something like that. I mean, this show is
Jukebox Gold.
on Tony Caravan Live Jukebox, right? This definitely is that. So
You're listening to Tony Caravan Live.
So, are you happy? That's the question. You know, have you been able to find happiness within your life? And despite all of these crazy things that they're doing, you know, do you understand that living well is the best revenge, not supporting some political campaign or being obsessed with an ideology? Just being happy, finding happiness, simplifying your life. And you know, like I say, less is more if that's your goal. Less is more. And a lot of people just don't get that. You know, they want more and more and more. And they think that the things are going to come out of that. But we need a guaranteed, you know, income from the authoritarian state. Well, they just did that last week. All right. They're calling it the child tax credit, but it's child tax credit / payment. So the money goes to the parent because the child is already in the poverty-stricken child, the child who lives in a poverty family is already taken care of by the current safety net. And it bears repeating. I know this is the third day in a row I'm going to harp this, but I'm not going to talk about it long. But the child born into poverty in the US of A has free food, free daycare, 100% free health care, and there's a roof over their head, guaranteed roof over their head. All right? And that family's issued a free cell phone, smartphone, which seems to be everyone's obsession today. And so where does this money go that they're giving out? They're calling it a credit. It's not a credit. It has nothing to do with taxes. It has to do whether or not you claimed a dependent child on your tax form. No, they're actually sending out cash. Like $300 per child. So what are the parents going to do with that money? Not giving it to the kid. A 2-year-old or a 3-year-old. It's not going to raise them out of poverty. It's a matter of what the parent's going to do. There's no incentive in this country to be out of poverty. There's more of an incentive to be in poverty. See, as a writer, an author, songwriter, beat poet, jack of all trades, master of many, actually, well-traveled man, you know, man about town. I understand all these things. And this research project for my latest book, which will be my 10th book, is that I am living below the poverty line. And let me tell you, it is a very, very stress-free, enjoyable experience. Yeah. The incentive in this country is to live below the poverty line. I own my house, but I'm still live below the poverty line. So, you know, that's the way it is. You know, there's a couple things I wouldn't mind having, right? It's like I got everything I need almost. I guess I got to do it this way. I get it. This microphone. I have everything I need almost. Right. I have the world's cheapest microphone, but it sounds so much better than this expensive thing that I have in the back that I was using. It's crazy. The only problem I have right now is this seat. It just keeps falling down. And I tried to put a seat pad on the thing so that it wouldn't matter if it fell down. Did I think don't start cracking on me? Like, just when I start saying this is nice, then suddenly the microphone will break in the middle of the show. But I'm tired a little. I don't know why, though. Because I seem to have caught up on the sleep that I lost yesterday. It's just that I guess there's no energy in a Fig Newton. And that this whole, caffeine thing, the morning show mug, the only one that seems to be in existence outside of the store where you can buy it through TonyCaravanLive.com. That caffeine doesn't make a whole heck of a lot of difference. Excuse me. So, Tuesday, 7:46 a.m. The former United States of America. And I got sea monkeys. And it's strange, just the subtle colorization. And these girls. The girls are basically sorry other girls. I'm primarily interested in this one, Oh, let the other ones peek through. Just let the on-air sign be visible. But the idea is that I don't understand why people aren't happy. I mean, I understand that we all have times in our life. I was watching something about borderline personality things. It was like I was surprised they had it. It was like, because I'm a YouTuber, so I watched, the things you're left to watch if you want to, in avoiding the news and all this talk about the unspeakable thing. It's like, so you just dig deeper and deeper and deeper into YouTube. So you end up watching everything from discussions by doctors on, how sugar's bad for you. So yesterday, my recommended list was this an actual interview with some, psychiatrist, a taped interview with someone who had this borderline personality type thing. I mean, I'm really surprised that these things, you find these things. And this woman, she was a good looking girl, but she had, she messed up, she was really messed up. But, you see all of this stuff and, some people, I guess, medical professionals, they try to say, well, there's people there. These problems are genetic in nature, passed down from, if your parent or grandparent is crazy, schizophrenic, there's a good possibility that you will suffer from schizophrenia. It's the old nature versus nurture argument. There's all sorts of ways people look at this. Obviously, people in the psychology, the psychiatric profession feel that their intervention, their, therapies can help. Otherwise, they're just taking people's money. People in the pharmaceutical industries obviously believe that their tablets and potions can help. Otherwise, they're just taking billions and billions of dollars from people who are in pain, And the thing is, there's a lot of people in pain. And yesterday I showed that, just how that the suicide rate in the United States, and this borderline personality woman that I was talking about yesterday, she had, earlier on, she had talked about how she was suicidal for years or whatever. I mean, this isn't exactly a topic that a lot of people want to talk about, and I'm not going to dwell on it. I'm just trying to make a point, so stick around. And so the suicide rate just somebody just like left. They don't like to hear this stuff. You got to fess up to it. You got to listen to it. You got to deal with reality. And that's the problem. Too many people are just hiding from reality. And then you got all these people with cognitive dissonance, right? A much overused phrase, but it's so apropos to our contemporary society. But the thing is, and I pulled up the statistic from the CDC yesterday, so I'm not giving medical advice here. I'm just reporting what was on the cdc.gov site. We watched it live. This is me talking to the algorithm. But that there was a 30% increase from like 1999 to 1996 or 2016. If you hear a beeping, there's some kind of construction vehicle going slowly up the street that basically is like a tank. And it's right outside my door. Hopefully passing by. I hope they're not digging that up for the fourth time. But that's since 2016, which was already 5 years ago, that the suicide rate's somewhere over 50,000 people in the U.S. every year. Well, it's totally unacceptable,
This is insane. This is insane.
So, whatever the cause, it's still insane in both ways. So, our health system, I can't talk today. I've got this, maybe I would just talk like this for the rest of the show. This is what it is. And I didn't even do anything yesterday. It's not like I was smoking cigars. I didn't do anything. I didn't drink. I drank over the weekend, maybe. Saturday, I had a couple of beers. Not many, though. Like 3 or 4. And just a couple of those tiny little goofy cigars. And for once, they were fresh. But what I'm trying to get at is, don't be jealous of these girls that are on the screen, any more than you should be jealous of the sea monkeys on the left or the right. Depends on your vantage point, stage, my stage left, your right. Is that right? Or is that wrong? We have too many words in English language that the same word means like 2 or 3 different things. It's bothersome. It's always been bothersome. You know, especially when you're a writer. Or words like there, right? So you have THEIR, THEY apostrophe RE, THERE. So when I'm writing my books and essays, whatever, and I've been writing for years, like I say, I'm working on my 10th book now. That, even though you turn these things off, it's like these algorithms in these programs, they're always trying to correct your spelling or now they get into like even stylistically, they're trying to do these things, and people say, well, you could just shut those things off. And it's like, well, there's certain things that you want to spell check, right? Especially if you don't have an editor, the money to spend on an editor, a publisher willing to invest time, in going over things. So you run spell check. And so I put out these books, and I've got 9 of them out there, available on Amazon.com. My latest one is behind me. Let's just take the girls out. The other ones, except the one I'm obsessed with. But, Codex here, my latest book, Amazon.com, get it. It costs like $12.95 in print. You can get it on Kindle and at Apple Books, for your device, but it's not the same. It's not a book. I don't care what they say. Apple Books, they're not books. Kindle, it's not the same. Because when you put together these things, okay, especially if you use graphics, and Codex doesn't necessarily use graphics, but some of my other books do. Hold on. Oh, by the way, Game Over, which is another one of my original things. This is available in shirts, hoodies, and all kinds of stuff. And this one, might be the one of the signs of the times. This would be a good hoodie to order for the fall. Right? You don't need a t-shirt with that. Game Over. Right? Let's grab some books and stuff. I can without destroying everything. Game Over. Let me put that here. I'm going to block the radio. Game Over. Well, I'm in front anyway. So, yes, I have multiple CDs. This one isn't as good as this one, The Essential. But this one, The Essential's out of print. So you have to ask your voice assistant, whatever its name is, play the music of Tony Caravan, and it'll play it. But anyway, this was one of my previous books. But in these books, sometimes, now this basically is a microphone. This is a compendium, more or less, of all of my beat poetry. You see how it's just lines of beat poetry? But even in this one, as we keep paging, see, we hit something there. You'll start to get you'll get areas where there are images. This is me just showing you how to build a raised bed garden, actually. But there's other stuff like that. But in other books, this was my first book, by the way, the early years. Now, in this one, it's, if I could get to, it's chock full of images, you see? The Mount Carbon Brewery. Some people who watch from my own whole hometown. I used to work for Roy Cohn. Hard to believe. That was an illustration I made of him. But anyway, in these books, and obviously, I've got a stack of them. You could see they're all Tony Caravan books, if I could deal with it. There are images, okay? And these images, just like to keep the old radio visible. This is my beret that I wear sometimes. You could see the 3D glasses like right there. And you get the greenish tint, Amazon, $7. I just got a notification because I bought one of my Echo Dots. Anyway, so I'm going to temporarily take these girls off the picture. And just for those of you who want to see living color, there's living color. In living color, this show. So what I'm trying to get at is when you write a book, and this is strictly...
You're listening to Tony Caravan Live.
A little side thing. I got an ice cube in my mouth. The one remaining. There, T-H-E-R-E, T-H-E-Y, apostrophe R-E, T-H-E-I-R. So the computer, the algorithm, this great AI that people like Elon Musk and Google and DARPA and all these people are depending upon and are afraid are going to take over the world, or hopefully will take over the world, depending on where your vantage point, right? Whether you're a militaristic, wishful thinking, or you're some fear-mongering idiot made money on the internet, selling a domain. Anyway, this great AI, these great algorithms, these software programs. So I publish a book, and then I'm rereading it. I'm reading my own books. I watch my own videos. I read my own books, and I listen to my own music. And when I used to do essays and stuff like that, let's try to organize this just so it's, more comfortable. So for crying out loud. Don't break on me. This way you can see my soul patch. Yeah. The way we look, the way we groom ourselves. It's kind of funny. So I'm rereading my book to make a long story longer and end it. And it's a T-H-E-I-R instead of a T-H-E-Y apostrophe R-E, or there's a T-H-E-R-E instead of a T-H-E-Y apostrophe R-E. And so I look like an idiot. And so when I first started publishing books, and I self-publish these books, I do everything myself. It's like I sell my music. I record all the instruments. It's multi-track recording, so I ultimately master them and stuff like that. And there's flaws in them, but some of them come out pretty darn good, right? I mean, there's some of these songs, like if you listen to like what's going on in a song like this. There's a lot of stuff going on there. That's very well put together for one dude. without an engineer or a producer. Or right? These are all my songs available. That's Game Over, which kind of is a companion for the hat. You should get Game Over hoodie, though. But don't forget, then what? You don't know what you don't know. And, of course, up here, over there she is. Everything you know is wrong. I've got a few other ones. But, it's hard to sit still for that one. I mean, that's a good club beat thing, That's intentional distorted guitar, And then this song, which should be a hit. It's another one. Virtual Cage, great song. Robots, another great tune. And then some of my traditional beat poetry. The old sound from the village. But you do these things yourself. And sometimes you're successful with them, sometimes you're not. But you don't have an engineer, you don't have a producer, you don't have a band. There's a couple of songs I could have played there that are great songs, but they sound like they're not good. I didn't get into them because I needed a band. I've talked about this once before. But the same with the book. It's like, yeah, I write the whole book and I do it. I do the typography. I literally type it. And I create the graphics and I do the cover design. And then there's this whole process of actually getting a book to market. Because my books are available everywhere. I have an ISBN number, Library of Congress. There's a copy there. Do you know what I mean? And it's available at iBooks, Kindle, I think Google Books. But like I say, you could buy what I would prefer is what I showed you before is get a hard copy. Get a copy of the book at Amazon.com. Or you can order it from a bookstore near you because it's in their catalog. Even if you have a small bookstore, you could say, hey, do you have any Tony Caravan book? Could you get me a Tony Caravan book? His latest book, Codex. Can you order that for me? Well, they can. It's available. It's in the catalog. All right? It takes a lot of work to do that. And when I first started doing that thing, I'd get my book back. And in fact, I have some here, and I've thrown many away, where I'd order like a couple dozen copies to give to people or whatever, to have, to sign, whatever. And I would read through it and I'd find these goofy things. Like a THERE instead of a THEY''R, or two thes back to back. Like the, right? And then I felt, oh man, I'm going to look like an idiot, And so I would fix it, go through a process which would, re-uploading things, dealing, And who knows, because if the original book that ended up at a copy in the Library of Congress could be the one with the flawed anyway. So I finally said, the heck with it. It's just like my songs. If it's not perfect, it's live, it's me, it's like this show, and it's why I do live on YouTube. If I make a mistake, if I slip up, it's reality. It's the truth. 30 frames per second. That's what this is. The truth, 30 frames per second. And so in my later books, I don't care. And it's not like they're riddled with things. But, inevitably, you will find, something. It's just very embarrassing. On one of my books, it was like the first page, like on the forward, the first page in like the first or second paragraph, there was like one of these things. It's like glaring right at me. And I'm like, oh man. If it would have been buried on page, 97 or something. But, I don't care. And that's the thing to get over. And I think that's the whole idea about life. You could take that, this is talking about the creative process in my books and all that kind of garbage, music and everything else. But you don't have to have perfection. That's the thing. We're not perfect. And utopia is not a viable thing. Doesn't work. Like you read those books like Walden 2 and some of those other things, back those older books. Humans are flawed by nature. All right? Because we're part of nature. Nature's flawed, It's not perfect. But it's still beautiful, Still beautiful. These wilted little things turned out to feed me and are still feeding me and will feed me for several more weeks with tomatoes. So, that's a good thing. And I don't know why that keeps happening. Well, that's what I was looking for. So, there are some people that are, almost have flawless bodies. I mean, that girl there. I'm borderline obsessed. There's a stock photo. I either purchased that photo or got it through a service that I purchased, So it's, it's legit. Not like other people who just go and Google images. It's like those sea monkeys on the screen. Do you know how long it took me to recreate those sea monkeys from like a worn out image of an old comic book from like the 60s or something, and then to make them transparent? Sorry about that. It's just going to happen all day. So that's graphic design. Yeah. And so there's no. So what is this idea? So how does what am I talking about, and why does any of this stuff apply? Well, it applies to these people who are trying to shove their ideology on us, and people who are caught up in politics as pop culture. And in other words, they're trying to create some kind of heaven on earth utopia. It doesn't work. All right? Because there's always something that's going to like gum up the works. And then there's some idiot's going to throw a wrench into the gears or whatever. Isn't that the way it is? It's always that way. It's like when they have these protests and stuff. There's always some out of control person there. Even it doesn't matter where. When you get so many humans together, there's inevitably some idiot that does something. there's always somebody in your neighborhood who's a screw up. It's like the schoolyard bully, or the cut up in the classroom. It's it's the person at work that's nosy or is jealous of a person and steals their ideas and takes credit for something. I mean, in any walk, just look at every walk of life, every bit of activity that humans participate in, you will find flaws and you will find aberrations. That's why I was even talking about these borderline personalities, and psychological issues, medical issues, imperfections of the body, and the pharmaceutical and our society is so obsessed with these things. Like, pharmaceutical companies will go to the point of, like, if someone has like some kind of, just things like a little bit of rosacea, if you know what that is, or like eczema or psoriasis or something, some marking, a flaw in their body, right? Then they've got to create some kind of pill, but the pill for it or the injection or whatever has so many side effects. Just because someone's afraid that they're not going to be loved or get a companion because they have a little red spot on their arm or something. Nobody cares about that stuff. It's like I say, if you think you're going to find happiness in a companion or even just a good friend, and that friend is so judgmental that that the fact that you have a slight human imperfection, physical imperfection, then that person's not for you, whether it be a friendship, spouse, lover, whatever. That's a problem with society. And so these people who push these ideologies out, who are they're going way beyond, the things that these commercial companies, because that's all make a buck by pharmaceutical companies and, and people in the medical profession, right? It's like plastic surgery. I lived out in LA. At one point, one of the offices I had was on Wilshire Boulevard. And the building I was in, there were a lot of plastic surgeons above me. And they used to come down because we used to offer certain services. There was like I won't even get into what exactly it is, but I used to know some of these plastic surgeons, right? And it was really, they were just trying to make a buck doing things to people that people didn't need, right? Yeah, happiness, it's the same thing as, the old cliche, money doesn't buy happiness. You see all these very wealthy people and they're like borderline suicidal and they're unhappy. And half of these protesters out there are like the trust fund babies or the sons and daughters of like college professors, lawyers, and people like that. They don't have for want. In other words, they've got money. They're not working. How else are they out in the streets every day? They seem to have like the nice sneakers and the nice backpacks and the in clothing. And so they're trying to force some kind of ideology, and their end game with that is that, it's going to create a perfect world, right? A perfect climate, a perfect country, right? perfect society, perfect school system, a perfect political system. We don't even need that. Perfect this, perfect that, perfect working conditions, perfect, and the list goes on. And my answer is, then what? Because inevitably it's not going to happen. It's like I talk about, the absurdity of, and how the U.S. is imploding right now, the absurdity of trying to fix the infrastructure. Can't be done. It's not even a Herculean task. It's not like landing a man on the moon, so to speak. It's beyond that. It would be like landing a man on the moon, times 100 in difficulty and effort. Because we don't have people to do the work, that know how to do the work. That's the problem, I ran out of ice cubes. I hate that. So it's like, do I leave the show for 30 seconds to go in and get a couple ice cubes or not? Right? Which is a major production in and upon itself. So let's do two things. Let's put the girls up. All right. I'm going to disconnect and I'll be right back.
There is nothing wrong with your television set. Do not attempt to adjust the picture. We are controlling transmission. If we wish to make it louder, we will bring up the volume. If we wish to make it softer, we will tune it to a whisper. We will control the horizontal. We will control the vertical. We can roll the image, make it flutter. We can change the focus to a soft blur or sharpen it to crystal clarity. For the next hour, sit quietly and we will control all that you see and hear. We repeat, there is nothing wrong with your television set. You are about to participate in a great adventure. You are about to experience the awe and mystery which reaches from the inner mind to the outer limits.
So it took me a 1 minute and 8 seconds. I hope you enjoyed that flashback to the outer limits. It would have taken less if I wouldn't have forgotten the mug. Anyway.
You're listening to Tony Caravan Live.
Yeah, these girls are my new obsession. And this colorization is going to stay. I think this is neat. So it's kind of where we're not black and white, but we're not full color. It's interesting. It's like colorized. Kind of fits with my immortality. Pictures of me from the 1800s. So this exercise in futility that's going on right now, right? It's an exercise in futility. Half the people, or more than half, are just in it for money and power, right? Those are the ones at the top. The corporatocracy. And of course, above the corporatocracy are the people who are into it for really nefarious reasons, because they're the organized crime syndicate. World Economic Forum types. They just want to bring back the king system, global rule, controlling people, for whatever purpose. We haven't talked about that loose idea, but I mean that these people are pretty much pure evil. But then the corporatocracy is just interested in money. Like I say, the announcers on TV that these people worship and think, oh, they're on our side. Look, they're trying to really make a difference in the world. Well, they're not trying to make a difference in the world. They're trying to make a buck on the order of $20 million a year with in some elite gated community or doormanned, condo building where they get driven to work and driven everywhere in a limousine or with a driver in some tricked out SUV with their own personal security team, right? So they don't have to worry about anything. And life to them is just one big cocktail party, swim in your, endless pool, living the life. I know, I've been around those people. I've been one of those people for brief periods of time over my life. I know what it's like. You're totally out of touch with reality. I lived and worked in Capitol Hill. And, when they say people who live within the Beltway, which is basically just the roadway that goes around the D.C. area. Yeah, you're inside the Beltway, man. You're insulated. You have no idea what's going on in the average person's mind. And these suckers who are on the street who are like protesting and think these politicians and these news media people and these corporatists are on their side don't understand. The corporatists, the politicians, and the media people are just in it for a buck. And the further up you go up, it's just money and power. That's all it is. And so these street level people who think they're going to usher in utopia are fools. And the things they talk about, it's all an exercise in futility. You're never going to build back better. You're never going to save America. The infrastructure has fallen apart, and there's no way to fix it because nobody knows how to fix it because the past couple generations have got student debt and because they have degrees in things that have nothing to do with building, highways and bridges and repairing, infrastructure of all kinds. Right? They want to eliminate carbon-based fuels, but the equipment that's used to fix the infrastructure and keep the roads and bridges and, and everything, railways and everything running requires carbon-based fuels. Even fire trucks and ambulances. They can't run on electric. They never will. They're too heavy, the tonnage of them. The amount of torque, the amount of power, the surge of power necessary is not presently and won't be, it would be, I don't know. It's just not going to happen. Anyone who knows anything about that. And the thing is, people at MIT and Harvard, the type of people who are supporting these issues, they know that. They're educated people, right? There's nothing worse than watching a couple of, MIT professors, physicists, people, scientists, academics, but people who are involved in science, mathematics, computer technology, AI, and that kind of thing. Sit down and have discussions, and intermixed within their discussions, and this would be like these YouTube interviews and stuff like that, these various shows, like that Lex Fridman guy and stuff, some of his guests that come on. And then And there's always a moment where they might come into something and mention something like about the planet and carbon this or something. And it's like, they know better. They, of all people, know better. Right? Yeah. They know that there's a thing called the sun that's responsible for the Earth's climate. That's the primary. That's the 800-pound gorilla in the room, is the sun. I mean, there are other things, but I threw it away. I was going to save it. Now I regret doing it, because when I had that TV disaster for regular viewers, my TV upstairs went on the blink, literally, just blinked off, and was, so I had to take a TV from the bar and put that upstairs, and then I brought the other one downstairs. But in the process of doing this, there was one of those energy saver things, whatever it's called. It's not energy saver, but it's some thing that the government implemented years ago, right? One of those policies. It's the same thing like we've done with our cars, with catalytic converters and emissions. The U.S. has the lowest emissions of, I think, or is one of the lowest emissions of any country in the world. And especially compared to like the real high concentration of people and machinery like China and India, Southeast Asia, and stuff like that. I mean, there's a little tag. It's on a lot of appliances and things you get now. Energy something. It's not energy saver, energy whatever. It's a program. And you have to conform to that. And it's just like cars, their emissions have to be within a certain level, or they don't pass inspection. And that's why we don't have pollution in the United States. We used to, have pollution. But we don't have pollution anymore. And so it's, our country's fairly ahead of the curve when it comes to all this stuff to begin with. So our appliances already consume less electricity, power, so to speak, because electricity's got to come from somewhere, right? But we've gone the route, and successfully, in making the things that we use on a daily basis more energy efficient. That's from like refrigerators to washing machines to televisions, you name it, to computers. They're very energy efficient. Now you think about the computer, the amount of the low wattage, right? And how quick you can charge like a smartphone or a laptop, right? And it's got this tiny little lithium ion battery or whatever they put in different devices. And it's amazing. It's like this thing in the back here. Underneath this is a portable radio, transistor radio, which works. I could turn it on if you wanted me to. But below it is this Jackery chargeable. You could charge that by solar, plug it in, or through your car. And you can see now, because there's enough light in the room, see this little wire going up to the on-air light? This Jackery controls that. Okay? We've been using that for months and months now. And I should actually charge it, but it's at 88%. It's been at 88%, like nonstop. Since I had it there. It literally, the efficiency, and we use LED lights now that are so efficient. They use nothing. So I'm saying this thing uses nothing. It won't even go down 1% after like using it being on every day for a couple hours, 2 to 3 hours every day, it just won't, it hasn't gone from 88% to 87% in like 3 months. Which basically means in a grid down situation, I sell those things on Great Solar Stuff, by the way. There's a logo for it. That in a grid down situation, you literally, if you had some LED lights, you could have turn your lights on for like 3 hours a day for months, like in a room or something, because you don't have to light up your whole house. Oh, the thing has a handle on it so you can carry it around into the bathroom or wherever, or your bedroom, or where you wanted a desk where you wanted to sit down or something. And, the thing's just going to last. And if you have a little tiny solar panel on a sunny day, you take it outside and you charge it. And then you're good for another, whatever. So we're very efficient, energy efficient, but we don't, that's never discussed. Just like the sun is never discussed as a source of heat, and like nobody's discussing the Earth's magnetic field weakening, the solar activity that's going on right now, and the sun's weakening magnetic field, and all kinds of cyclical other things that are far more important than these personal goofy issues that people bring up, that are unrealistic. You want solutions to a problem, not protests. See, protests are exercise in futility. It's just like elections are exercise in futility. See, no one's going to save America, and the current administration is not going to build back better. Build what back better? You're not going to build what? Well, you can't build bridges because you don't have the people to do it. It's not a matter of money, right? You need people. People don't have trades anymore. It's the former United States. It's the fall, the fall of the American Empire. Western civilization is basically falling apart. The world's in total turmoil right now, but it's not getting covered on the U.S. media. Instead, people are talking about issues, personal issues, worried about this, worried about that. We must be, let's do this here. We must change this at a school system. We must do this or wear this or get that. And it's like petty issues compared to, the big picture, as I was saying the other day, the big picture. And people don't see that. That's too bad, in one way. But back to this idea of like how I living in poverty, right? But at the same time to be happy. See, because there's no reason these girls drinking out of some party cups, having fun, is not required. Notice nobody has a smartphone visible there. You don't need an awful lot of materialistic things to have fun. You have fun with people. You have fun hanging out, doing the things you like, even yourself. It's like people who like to jog, or people who like to take a walk, in a park, or, it's like people who like rock climb, mountain climb. A lot of those people do those things solo, there's so many things in life, that you can get enjoyment being a human being, using your senses that you've been given. And so whether it's you or you and someone else or you and a group of people, it doesn't matter. Whatever you find enjoyable, pleasurable, fun, that's the pursuit of happiness. That should be your goal. Not being angry, trying to change somebody. You can't change people. Why would you want to change somebody? That's not your job. Okay? That's not what life's about. You're not born, right, to change people, to come around to your way of thinking. And I don't care what your way of thinking is. See, the thing about the difference between me and these, crazies, I don't mind using that word, they're crazy people on the street, crazy politicians, right? Lunatic fringe. Difference between me and them is that I'm not trying to change you. I'm telling you, hey, do whatever you want to do. Just don't shove it in my face or somebody else's face. And that happiness is possible. The pursuit of happiness is possible, even at the poverty level, as such as I'm doing right now, living at the poverty level. Because it's, I don't know. I could still, whether I should or shouldn't, drink my soda. I can broadcast my show. I could use these talents I've learned to create books and shirts and sea monkeys, all this kind of goofy stuff. Yeah, I could do that. And so could you. That's what our consciousness is. That's our creativity. We perceive the world, and you put that together, and your conscious mind basically allows you to do something that no computer can. And that is be creative. Come up with something that has never been thought of before, perhaps. Or simultaneously, sometimes there's that thing where there seems to be, because we're all interconnected on this planet, more ways than we realize. But that, be enlightened in a sense about something. It's someone over in Europe and someone in Asia or someone in Africa or South America who's also seems to have thought about. It's like the phone, the invention of the telephone. There was several people simultaneously had that, and the one guy, Graham Bell, beat the other guy out, patenting it by hours or something ridiculous like that. I don't know the specifics on it, but it's, and in other words, people working on the same project, who don't know each other, and they come up with these things. But life's about living and laughing, and having fun. What do you think it is?
Really funny. Really funny.
I mean, really, what do you think it is? To be serious? Like, what are you going to accomplish? We need to change. Everybody needs to then what? Like my t-shirt says. Go to TonyCaravanLive.com. Then what? Well, then everybody will be the same. Well, then are they going to be
really funny.
Happy?
Really funny.
No. They're not going to be happy. Just live and let live. Okay? Don't do harm to another human being. And, hopefully that no other human being will do harm to you. If you feel a certain way about something, that's fine. And you want to have a conversation with somebody about it and express that, that's good. That's cool. That's what we do. We communicate. I'm communicating ideas and thoughts. But, you don't have to live like I do. And you don't have to view life the way I view life. It's just a conversation. I'm just using existing technology to speak. If there was someone else here, I'd live alone with a cat. If there was someone else here, I probably wouldn't be doing this show right now. I'm using this thing. I'm talking to myself, but in effect, I'm talking to you. But I will watch this show, this playback of this show, and enjoy it. It'll be entertaining. It'll be interesting. And the ideas that came up, randomly may be things that inspire my book that I'm working on that I want to get out by the end of the year. But that's me. That's what I'm doing. And all this stuff in the background, the old radio and my books and the solar stuff, the transition, the cat's here. You want to come up and say hi? You want to come up and say hi? Do you? I left, you had breakfast. I try to grab them, but, it is very hard to snag a cat. You know that. They just they'll rub against your legs. When you go to grab them, then they take off. He's been on this show before. But yeah, so life is life. Live life to the fullest. Live life to the best you can. And, if you've got issues, try to find help, where need be. There's always somebody out there that will help you. Don't get down on yourself and feel overwhelmed by what's going on in the world right now or in the country. And, and because what happens is, that's what brings out this cult of personality and why politics is pop culture. Is because people get so caught up in this media and this, environment and the way that they think they should live or what's wrong, right? That they want this person, this cult of personality, or they want to change politics because they want to create some kind of utopia. It doesn't happen. See, remember, the media is only in it for money. All right? I've been in the media most of my life. The media is a for-profit business. Even PBS these days is a for-profit business. It's got full of commercials. They call them not sponsors, but underwriters and all these other things. They literally have commercials now, right? Foundations are money laundering operations, many of them. Because the people on the boards of directors of those foundations have interest in companies that foundation ends up donating money to or giving grants to. And so that the company that's the foundation basically awards the contract to is one or more of the board members are involved in that company. So it's a circular thing. It's like everything else. The wealthy have got the game rigged, man. They've got it all figured out. It's like they'll raise taxes. When they raise taxes, it's the working person that loses out, there's always got a tax shelter. There's always some kind of loophole. All right? That's how the world is run. So getting yourself all worked up over politics and politicians and thinking some guy on a white horse is going to ride in and save the day is ridiculous. It doesn't happen. And it hasn't happened. It hasn't happened. People have such short attention spans. They have no memory of history. They don't see what happened in the past. We're beyond the point of radical change, okay? Because that's what it would take, all right? You would need a revolution, and even that, it'd be like, then what, right? Then you've got a failed state and a revolution, and once you go down that thing, you end up like these other countries. It's revolution after revolution, okay? So accept the fact, it's not that bad. It really isn't. Poverty isn't that bad. What you need to do is pursue happiness and pursue love. Those are the important things in life. Look at the beauty of nature, the beauty of in my case, the beauty of woman, that is woman. People having fun, find fun, enjoy fun. I grow my own food. I enjoy doing it. I enjoy being outdoors. And I enjoy consuming that food. This morning, went out to feed the birds. After I was done feeding the birds, I picked up a handful of lettuce. And I've got some tomatoes that have ripened inside. And I will make some kind of probably tomato, lettuce on a wrap tortilla, with some seasoned olive oil, some turmeric and pepper to make that turmeric work. Maybe chop up some garlic, put that on there. It doesn't sound healthy, but it's good. Put a slap of mayo on it and a slice of cheese. Roll that thing up, and it's a flavor explosion in your mouth, and there's so much healthy things you get out of that. Between the garlic, the turmeric, of course, the tomatoes on there, you get the lycopene, right? The fresh greens. It's just good for you. The extra virgin olive oil. It's a good oil as opposed to these bad oils that they put in everything. No good, it's good for your heart as opposed to things that are bad for your heart. Eat healthy. Grow healthy food. That's what I do. It's an option. You don't have to do it. If it's not your thing. You want to come up here? Come on, say hi to the good people of planet Earth. You want to, you and I are trapped on this planet, right? They put us here. We're on this planet. Come on over. Let them see. Look what I got. You gonna purr? You're all wet, so you just had a drink, didn't you? Purr into the microphone. That's a happy kitty. See? Welcome. Listen to that purr. All right. I'll be done this soon. And then we'll do something. But kitty is wet. My hand's wet. He just drank from his bowl. He half buries himself in the bowl when he drinks. I don't know if your cat does that or not, if you have one. So, happy animal. We're animals. Be a happy animal. Purr. Anyway, that's that. That's today's show. I can't believe it. It's 8:54 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I started exactly at 7. I mean, I could keep the show right to 9 to make it exactly 2 hours, but I don't have to. I think I pretty much said enough, Good morning. I may or may not have a couple of beers today. I don't know. I've been drinking a lot lately, kind of. But so what? I don't drink that much. The biggest annoyance is getting cigars. And the idea of getting beer is you need cash at this bar. They don't accept credit cards there or ATM cards. And I don't have any I don't have any cash. Sorry for that. That's why I got to go. Anyway, thanks for watching. Visit TonyCaravanLive.com. Get a shirt. Get a mug. There are links there to my books, my shirts, my great solar stuff, products, all kinds of things that will help you in your life and in a very menial, minor way help support this webcast. Like I say, in most cases, I'd be lucky if I get a 50-cent commission or something like that. But just do it.